What's up, Fackers? We are back with our Fantasy and Chill 101, counting down the top 101 fantasy football players for the 2020 season. Number 51 on the countdown is running back for the San Francisco 49ers, Raheem Mostert. He is our 25th ranked running back. Last year, he finished as running back number 23. All right, so his stats last year, he had 137 carries for 772 yards and 8 touchdowns. Also added 14 catches for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. He scored 163.2 fantasy points, an average of 10.2 points per game. All right, so we know that last year he kind of came on the scene late, but when he did, he was a monster, second half monster. He averaged 17.3 points per game from week 12 on. So if you were lucky enough to get him for the stretch run and even your playoffs, and he might have won you the league because he was that dominant at the end of the season. Even going into the playoffs, I know that doesn't really count towards a fantasy, but he had some big playoff games too, kind of carried him to the Super Bowl a little bit. He is very efficient in his limited time in the league. Now he's actually been in the league for about 5 years. This was his first time to actually see like real actual carries and gameplay besides special teams. But he is averaging 6 yards per carry for his career. But the one downside is he doesn't get targeted very much out of the backfield. Only had 22 targets. So that might be a deterrent. Now, Tevin Coleman is there, we know. I don't know if he's exactly a big target guy either, but we know they still have Jerrick McKinnon. I don't even know is Jerrick McKinnon going to play? I don't know, but he's still
Probably.
there.
He's the
So
only
between
one getting paid.
only one getting paid. So between those three, it is a little crowded back there, but it was crowded last year and Mostert emerged anyway. So we'll see if he can kind of continue. Looks to be a pretty big target this year in fantasy, definitely flying up the draft boards.
Yeah, I mean, the backfield last year for the 49ers was it was Coleman, Mostert, Breida. You really didn't know who was going to be getting the ball. But, I mean, Coleman went off one game. I know Breida had huge games, and then Mostert towards the end of the season was big. He's going to be playable, but, I mean, Shanahan likes to, he never just kind of sticks with a guy, like, game to game, I feel like. It's always just kind of like who has the hot hand in that specific game. I mean, 49ers are going to run the ball. I don't see Garoppolo throwing for 30, 40 touchdowns. So Mostert's going to have some value.
Yeah, I mean, did you mention I was kind of zoned out for a second trying to mess with some stuff, but you mentioned that Jeff Wilson is still there too?
I forgot
No,
about Jeff Wilson. He's had a couple games where he scored some touchdowns too. So
the
Yeah,
only
like
one that left is Breida.
the only one left is Breida. I forgot about Jeff Wilson, who has been relevant. Like he's had some games. So
And
no,
McKinnon is the one they got the contract with. So,
yeah.
and he tore his ACL 2 years ago, and then last year
I don't know if it's
just hurt.
exactly ACL, but yeah, 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
yeah, bring up Jeff Wilson though, because I don't know if you'd be surprised that he actually had more red zone touches than Mostert did last year.
Yeah, which
If I
worries
remember
me.
correctly, he got quite a few goal line carries
Yeah, so
on red zone stuff.
I like Mostert's ADP, which is I was just looking at it. I think it's in the 60s or something. It makes sense going around our rankings.
Yep.
Yeah, so I like his ADP, but what worries me is that not only does he have limited receiving ability, just because it's probably gonna be McKinnon's job as like the third down back kind of with they went after McKinnon because how good of a receiver he is, but he's also gonna be losing a lot of red zone touches, not only to Coleman but to Jeff Wilson.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised at this point if are all four of them going to make it to the season? Like they've done this kind of 2 years in a row, but they've had injuries. Now going in with four guys that are presumably healthy, you can't really. I mean, that's four really decent guys to roster. I just don't know if they're all actually going to make it all the way to the season. So that might just cut one of those guys away, anyways.
True. I mean, I really only see me drafting Mostert if he kind of falls in the draft because I'd be more willing to take a chance on like someone who had a better shot at getting a starting role with not as much talent around him, like I don't know, Darius Geis or someone like that. But like even last year, he had more than 13 carries one time. I mean, he never had more than four
Yeah.
targets. Like he's not
He
going to
just
catch the ball in the backfield, like Matt was saying. And I mean, he's just I
he,
mean, if
he
something happens
relies
to Coleman, then yeah, you got someone you can play. But
he relies so much on big plays.
he
All
does.
those games where he scored all those plays, he broke off, a 60-yard run, something crazy like that.
Yeah, I mean, what? He's 28 years old. It looks like
Yeah.
he's been in the league since 2015.
The
Last year
career
was the
special
first
teams
game he
guy.
played six. Yeah, last year was the first time he played 16 games, and he only had 137 carries. So, and he was very touchdown dependent, 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, what like you were kind of saying there, hinting at, I guess, this isn't gonna be a guy that you draft and expect to get 20 plus carries out of him, like, ever. He
No.
didn't. He didn't hit 20 carries once last year, and without an injury to Coleman or possibly McKinnon, he's not going to be the guy that's going to get you 20. Like, just not going to do it. So you, like you said, you're relying on these big plays, which he can do. We saw it last year. He can do it, but
Yep.
Super explosive.
going
The
into
silver-
fantasy season, you don't want to rely on that.
Yeah, and the silver lining is the 49ers are gonna run the ball. So, like,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you do take a shot on him, he could pay off.
No, they have a great offensive line, and I'm kind of
Yes.
surprised. I thought Ryan would be a lot higher on him, but sounds of it, not as high as I thought he would be.
I mean, I like him. I mean, I did the rankings. I have him at 51,
That's
which is
true,
higher
yeah.
than his
It's higher
ADP.
It's higher than the ADP. So
It's just that, I mean, y'all are kind of talking me into it a little bit. If you're drafting him at 51, you're drafting him as your flex, probably. That's just, I mean, I think he's he's a fine flex. He's just not super reliable yet until kind of we see what they're going to do there all season. I mean, who knows? The way he performed at the end of the year in the playoffs, he might get the majority, like big time majority of the carries. If you look at the end of the season and even the playoffs, Tevin Coleman's touches went way down.
yeah. Well, I think Tevin Coleman also got hurt in the playoffs, but Kyle Shanahan, the issue you're going to run into is Raheem Mostert's going to have a big game, and you're going to feel safe starting him the next week. And then Tevin Coleman might start, looking pretty good in the early game, and they're just going to ride the hot hand with Tevin Coleman. And then you're going to get maybe 5 points with Mostert, and it might lose you your game that week.
But see, like, even someone going around Mostert right now, this is very early, but like, I'm taking Devin Singletary, I'm taking him over Mostert. David Johnson,
Yeah.
obviously. Montgomery, Cam Akers, Darius Guys, Kareem Hunt. Now we're talking into those guys that I might kind of.
Are you looking at
That's going to
standard
be the
again?
question. No, this is PPR.
Because I'm seeing David Montgomery like one spot ahead of him, and I think
That's where I'm at. Yeah.
Okay,
No,
okay.
that's what I'm saying. I'm taking
Same
Montgomery
guys
over
around him.
Mostert. Easy.
Okay. Yeah, I like Montgomery over Mostert as well, just because we know Montgomery doesn't have the competition in Chicago that Mostert will have in San Fran.
I honestly think we found like it's the Mendoza line right there. Like Montgomery separating him, then you have Mostert, Akers, Guys, Hunt, Sony Michelle, DeAndre Swift, Marlon Mack, like guys with a lot of questions start right there.
I think Ryan
Mostert's
Luck's,
ceiling is just so high.
It is.
yeah, it is. But his
If he can get 15 carries a game in that offense with the way that they're going to the ball and protect.
I don't know if he's going to get 15 carries though. That's the problem.
So I'm saying though,
yeah.
if he can get 15 carries a game, which that's not crazy.
No,
But that was
For a
by
team that's going to
far
run the ball that much.
his best season was by far last year. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, he didn't do anything before last season.
Yes,
he's
and
never
that's something to be wary of.
Never had a chance though. He showed it.
That's true. That's true.
Gave him a chance. He performed.
Yep. And they moved Breida, so I mean, obviously, he's going to be the starter going into the season.
Like I said, I really wouldn't be surprised
Starter.
if McKinnon or F. Wilson was gone. In fact, someone look at McKinnon's contract. It's got to be dead money time for that, where they can just cut him and get rid of him. It's been 2 years.
They probably would have cut him already by now.
Yeah,
I think
he's
they're
got
going
Depends
one
on when
more.
that dead money kicks in.
they're going to give him a shot, I think.
With McKinnon?
Yeah. He's the best receiving back they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
He kind of fills that Breida role a little bit. I think he's better receiver than Breida is, but I think they'll give him a shot. If anything, I think it's going to be Jeff Wilson that's gone. I think Mostert was trying to pack on some pounds in the offseason. Maybe he tries to be that goal line back and handle, more carries, but we'll see.
anything else on Mostert?
No, talented, but
That's
Kyle Shanahan scares me.
I think he's a decent flex option where you're going to get him at. Like I said, if he falls to like the 6th or the 7th round, I would snag him, be that first running back off the bench for you, because if he does get the majority of the opportunity, he should do very well in that offense again with them running the ball. But Raheem Mostert is our 25th ranked running back, number 51 overall. Yeah.
Yep.
Well.